Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are installing a whole box full of crazy nonsense on the lawn tractor. It's pretty much the end of mid-October-ish, and we're wrapping up stuff we're going to do in the garage, so we're going to knock out some stuff on the tractor before winter comes. First, let's go over what stuff we got in the box to install. The first really neat thing here is these are Wakeboard tower speakers. They're like 200 watts per guy. So those are, and they have like LED effects and stuff on the inside here, so they should be pretty sweet. Plan is to mount those on the back of the tractor on the handrail. So two of those guys. Next, got a mounting bracket for the radio. That radio receiver thing we'll be installing. Some switches to turn the stuff on and off. We've got a rack and pinion steering system. This is for like a go-kart. We're going to try and upgrade the steering system on here so it's a little less feel like you're going to die when you're going fast. So it came with like a steering wheel, the rack and pinion thing. Came with some like end links, pretty beefy. Steering shaft and for the steering wheel. We've got some bolts. Got a couple gauge pods. These are going to be for the gauges we're going to be installing. So we've got, there's the pod, and then we've got the oil pressure gauge and all the fixins. And then we've got the oil temperature gauge. Yep, oil temperature gauge and all the fixins. And then finally, we've got the stereo. This is a Boss Marine Bluetooth auxiliary radio type thing. So we'll be figuring out how to get that guy put in today too. But before we dive right into it, I'll catch you up to speed with what we've done on the tractor since the installation of the flywheel. We've added this very convenient cup holder. You gotta have a cup holder. We've also installed this DC voltmeter here so that we can see how much power we got left in our battery. Here's a shot of those two guys side by side there. Here's what that voltmeter looks like when it's on. We've installed an LED light inside here to save battery. So that's now like an LED bulb in there instead of before it was an incandescent. We've also installed some running lights, which can be activated with a switch, obviously also using LED bulbs. Turn that on. Got some nice lightage going on there. We've changed the oil and we've installed this K&N performance oil filter from like a car. But by far the most exciting change we've done to the tractor is we've added a counter spring right here. And what this does is this allows the RPMs to rev a lot higher on the tractor in addition to like the factory governor, which is right there. So there's kind of two forces pulling it, so it lets you pull it open a little harder. So it's like fighting the factory governor to keep it open longer and provide higher revolutions, which is increasing the revolutions of the engine, and allows the tractor to go a lot faster. And it also makes it sound a lot better. And so, and last time when we finished installing the flywheel, it kind of sounded like crap, but now it runs real good. So we'll fire it up here and show you what that sounds like. Since we've essentially disabled the governor for most intents and purposes, you can't just let the RPM spin forever. And so what we've done is we've tied the shift light up here, so when RPMs reach a certain speed, this light comes on, and this is teed into the kill wire for the engine. And so when this shift light goes off, the engine will kill itself for just like a split second, and it'll just keep killing itself when it hits that rev limiter. And so you can set the RPM limiter of the engine using the tachometer here. So you set the RPMs on the tachometer. When the light comes on, and it keeps the engine at that RPM. So pretty neat. So there we are. Speakers installed. Let's get the radio set up. Let's get this bracket installed here. There's that. Now, since this isn't actually meant for this gauge, this is just some random thing, it doesn't actually fit all that snugly in here. Geez, what a mess. So put this in here. It's all loose, so it's a little too big. So I think we're just going to take some of this hose here, cut it up down the middle, and try to wedge it in there. I think that'll do. That's pretty good, actually, thankfully. Nice. Let's tighten that down. Alright. Ain't going anywhere. Looks pretty decent, too. Sweet. Gotta catch that film peeling action. So now that we've got this actually installed in here, we have to figure out how to hook it up. So there's some instructions here on how to do that. I don't know if I can zoom in on. So there you can see that's how you hook it up. So I'm gonna study this for a little while and figure out how exactly I want to hook this up, and then we'll bring it back. Alright, I've got an idea of what I want to do. We're going to add another switch right here, so let's drill it up. Measure carefully. Alright, that'll be the switch that controls all the power for our radio, so we can turn the radio on with the switch. Okay, so what we've done here is we've tied the yellow and red, which yellow is like battery, red is supposed to be ignition. I'm just going to control them both with the switch up here. Anyway, so I tied these together, and then I've made a little wire to go from our switch that we installed, which is right up here. So that will go to our radio power. Probably. Yep. Okay. So then we need to give power to our switch. So I've made this cable, which we'll plug off of here. Okay. Now it goes to our switch. Okay. So now our switch has power, and we just need the ground wire, which I've made another Y splitter thing, which will go into our ground here. And that will go into here, which I haven't hooked up yet, so let me get a crimp on that real quick. Okay, so in theory we are all hooked up now, and if I were to turn the ignition on and the tractor and flip the switch up, the radio should come on. The only thing I'm worried about is the amp meter in this thing is only good for 15 amps, and so if this thing goes over 15 amps it might blow my amp meter. So not entirely sure what's going to happen here. Might be a little bit of explosions, but we'll see. We are looking right here to make sure this doesn't go over 15, and then obviously looking right here to see if it turns on at all. So let's hit the key. Hit the switch, see what happens. Oh baby, it's turning on. Oh nice. What does it say? It's about an amp, which is nothing. So that's not going to blow anything up, which is fantastic news. I was worried it would take a ton of battery power. So we've got the radio on now. We know it works at least, and we've wired it correctly. Let's see what happens if I rotate this key one more time. Oh yeah, so if I turn the lights off, it also turns off. Maybe don't want that. Maybe do. I'll have to think about that. But for now, at least we know it definitely works. So now we just need to worry about hooking up the speakers and getting them to work. I hooked it up to a non-ignition based 12 volt system. So now when we turn the key on, the radio will come on. And if we switch the lights off, the radio still turns on. So there's a nice view of so there's the interface. I suppose you could do like source here, Bluetooth, auxiliary, tuner. So let's see, like does it do, yeah, it'll just seek there. Now for the annoying part, we need to figure out which of these wires should go to the speakers we've got set up in the back, and we need to run the wire all the way from up here to all the way back there. So some combination of these guys is supposed to go all the way back there. So I'm gonna do some figuring out on that, and we'll get it hooked up and see if it works. Alright, so the LED hookups for the speakers are apparently these little DC barrel guys, and probably the most unforeseen difficult decision I have to make is how do I want to control having the lights on or off? Do I want them on when the radio is on, or want them on when the LED ground effects are on? Do I want them on their own switch or whatever? I think what I'm going to go with is I'm going to wire these into the ground effect LED lights, and when the LED lights are on the shining on the ground, the stereo speakers will also have the LED dots. So let's wire that up quick, and we'll check out how it looks. We've got it all patched in here now. These are the two DC plugs coming up from the back. We've got the two ground wires tied together going into a ground. And then we've got the two positive leads tied together going into the switch that also controls the LED lights. So when we flip the switch, we'll find out what happens on these lights here. Let's find out how these LEDs look. I haven't seen any pictures. I have no idea what it will look like. I also don't know if I'm going to need to use the included keyboard switch thing or not. So power's on. I'm going to flip the lights on. Ooh, yes. Oh my god. That is awesome. So obnoxious. Check out what it looks like with the ground effects too. Oh man, that is so ridiculous. I love that the default pattern is the like strobe. That's just awesome. So now the next step will be to hook up the actual audio lines to it. So we got to crawl under it again one more time, run one more set of wires, and then finally we can see if these things make any noise. But so far I'm pretty impressed. Like that's pretty decent lighting effects, and you know, these are like the Amazon's cheapest wakeboard speakers, and so I didn't have very high expectations for them, but so far I'm happy. We'll start out in the rear again. I've got some of this like speaker wire or whatever, and we're gonna start at the back and then run it to the front. So we got it. We've got our wires cut to length, and I've isolated the two colors that go to the front sides. The white colors are for the left speaker, and the gray colors are for the right speaker. So I'm gonna crimp those up together, and then I'll bring it back, and we'll see if they work. All right, we've got everything hooked up, I think, correctly. Got these two sets of speaker wires all crimped into the stereo unit. We've got the LEDs all wired up. Everything should, it should at least make some crackly noise on here. I don't know if this, without an antenna, will even work. But we should hear some sound, and obviously we know the lights work, so the lights work. So let's turn it on. Obviously the lights work. The other important thing is to see how much wattage this, or how many amps this draws, and if it blows my my amp meter out of the water. But let's fire it up and let's see what happens. Now, radio's turning on. All right. Whoa. I didn't expect that to work, but it did. Amazing. I don't have to worry about a copyright. I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna play some copyright-free music quick. This should have like an auxiliary in here. One of these is an auxiliary jack, so I should be able to put my phone in through here as well. And it looks like it's only using, again, like an amp. It's very quiet, but very low amperage, which is awesome. So I'm gonna go grab some cables to get some copyright-free music going. We've got the phone hooked in the auxiliary. Let's crank these things and see what happens. Then about 25 on the volume. Still not using anything. Let's crank the bass up. This is a bassy song. Oh, it's sucking a lot of juice. Sounds good though. Really sucks the juice down when you're on those speakers. But that's both speakers were working. I was able to feel them both, and that's a complete install. And surprisingly, it used a lot less juice than I thought it would. I thought it would just like blow out like 10 amps of power, but really it was quite low on the power requirement. So that was actually a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't be a lot of work, but it's been all day here, and I'm going to wrap it up for the night. And I'll probably call this a video. I'm not sure if I'll include the oil pump or the oil filter stuff and the oil temperature and pressure gauges and stuff in this video or not. I'll have to see how much we got for footage. But if we don't do anything else, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed adding some obnoxious stuff to my lawn tractor again. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.